Hello, friends. I'm Chaplain Dan Bonner, and I'm privileged to bring to you today another devotion with Chaplain Dan. Devotions have to do with things that we do on a regular basis, ideally even every day, that have a practical and yet spiritual impact on our day and on our lives. Devotions are intended to help, not just to sound good or be pretty. I want to continue the discussion that we've had before at other times on how in our devotional life we can find real help, practical help within the 66 books of this Bible. This happens to be a Bible I was given in the earliest days of my ministry, 49 years ago. I have carried it with me, preached from it, I imagine hundreds of times over the years. It's a treasure to me, not because it represents so much that I've done or so many places I've been. No. It's a treasure to me because over and over and over again I've found that when I need something to get me through the day, or to say to the fellowship I address as preacher or teacher, or to bring a devotional to the blessed ones here at the Wesleyan at Australia. Our Wesleyan community can utilize this book to help us find. Today I want to address how we deal with one another when we don't agree. How we deal with one another when we're not quite sure what to do. How we deal with one another when we just seem as groups or group be wandering around. In these days of the Delta variant that causes such a tremor of uncertainty in our Wesleyan family, this book provides some guidance that will help us through each day during these anxious times. For example, let me turn to the book of Galatians in the New Testament. That was one of Paul's shorter letters. It only has 6 chapters. And it was written, as most of his letters were, to specific congregations of Christians that he had helped form. He went into, actually, Galatia is a region north of what we know as the Holy Land, in what you might identify as Asia Minor. And Galatia was a place where lots of different cultures passed through, from Rome and Greece, they would come going to the mysterious east. Or from the north, they would come to seek trade among the Hebrew people and the people of the land south. It was a crossroads. Lots of different folks, and some settled in the communities of Galatia, and it was among them some responded to Paul's preaching and gave their lives to Christ and formed their church, or churches, we're not quite sure, small fellowships, groups, sort of like the fellowships that gather in the game room in our West Campus or East Campus of our independent living, where sometimes when I pass by, especially on a Wednesday, there are a group of men in there just having a loud and good time. It's a group. Or on my way to the fitness center upstairs, sometimes I hear in the game room there on the second floor back near the back of the building, I hear the loudest laughter and joy, and I look in there and I see people, many of them I know, just having the best time playing with a little board that has letters on it, crisscross. I've never played that game. They say it's called bingo, I think. Some of you may know it. Well, there are other groups, though, that support one another through very difficult times, the loss of loved ones to death, the serious illness that people face while living here sometimes. There are all kinds of support groups, and of course there are Christian study groups as well, and many more, singing, drama, groups. Do they all get along? Not with one another, any more than families get along always. When you don't get along, a really practical time in life, when you do not like the people beside you, when you disagree strongly and you're so mad you don't know what you're going to do about it, this situation in Galatia is very similar. If you look, for example, at a time when conflict was about to divide the little church in Galatia apart because of differences, people not knowing each other well, different ideas, different interpretations of who Jesus is. This is what Paul wrote to them. It's found in the 5th chapter, the 13th verse. And if you wanted to find a text like this, you'd look in the concordance in the back of your Bible for a word like disagreement, a word like fight, a word like belligerence. Just pick a word that describes what you're dealing with your other people around you. in a given moment. And then read that 6 short chapters. I just want to lift up 3 verses that jump out at me that talk about how to resolve, get direction, get guidance when disagreements divide us. For you are called, Paul writes to the Galatians, and speaks to my heart when I disagree with others. For you are called to freedom, not to the bondage of anger or resentment or silent sulking. You are called to freedom, brethren. Only do not use your freedom as an opportunity just to get your way. What it says in my translation here, in my trusted word, is as an opportunity for the flesh. That means a way of saying, I think, simply what you know is right when it comes right down to it. No. Do not use your freedom as an opportunity just to get your way. But through love, be servants, be servants, be servants one of another. My brothers and sisters, that says a bunch. Be servants one of another. But then Paul goes on to say, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Now, he didn't create that phrase. We know that comes most famously from the lips of Jesus. Paul had heard it taught. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. But if you bite and devour one another, take heed that you are not consumed by one another. That's clear direction. When you have real deep disagreements, take on the self-conscious role of a servant with the other and love them. Find a way to hear them, to listen, and maybe even to learn from them. And also, in the midst of that, the Spirit can give you a chance to work beyond your anger. But be careful, Paul admonishes, because if you don't do that, you'll eat each other alive. Oh, friends, we can live joyful lives together. And not just someday, but today. This is Chaplain Dan, and it's been my privilege to share this devotional with you. I hope you have a blessed day and are able to practice, maybe even using these guides. Practice what God intends. God bless you. I'll see you next time.